Good day everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. Today we'll be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful pencil skirt and how to shape it, fix your zip and also our hairband. Before we begin drafting, we have to note that we will be adding a 1 inch dart allowance to our waist measurement before adding our shaping allowance, which is 2 inches that we'll be using here. So our full length is 23 inches and we'll be adding 1 inch also to our full length to make it 24, and this is our waist measurement 28, our hip 38 and our hip line is 9. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to divide our measurements before drafting on our pattern paper. So we're dividing by 4 inch. Our waist divided by 4 is 7. We'll add our darts 1 and we'll add our allowance, which is 2 inches. That's making it 10. The same thing we'll do on our hip. We'll add our only our allowance. There's no dart in our hip. So total of our waist is 10 inch and our hip is 11. So after doing that, we know our highest width measurement here is our hip, which is 11. So we'll be folding with our hip measurements. When you are folding, make sure you are checking for accuracy. So this is 11. We'll have to arrange our pattern paper properly. Arrange it properly. After that, we'll confirm that it's 11. So the next thing we'll do now is to take our full length. Remember I said we're adding 1 inch to our full length measurement. So we'll be having 24. Mark it. Then you confirm it on the other parts of the paper for accuracy. Then the next thing you do now is to use your ruler to connect your lines. Use your ruler to connect your lines. So after connecting your lines, next thing you have to do now is to take your waist measurement on top of the line, because that line now is your waistline. You take your waist measurement on it, and our waist measurement is 10 inches. So you mark it. Then from our waistline measurement, we'll be taking our hip line. Our hip line is 9 inches. Our hip line is 9 inches. So we'll mark it and then connect our lines. Connect our lines properly. Then since we've gotten our hip line, we'll have to take our hip measurement on our hip line. Take our hip measurement on our hip line. Our hip is 11 inches. Now remember I said this is a pencil skirt, so we'll have to pencil the down of the clothes. And how do we do that? We minus 1.5 inch from our calculated hip measurement and bring it down to the down of our clothes. So our calculated hip measurement is 11, we'll minus 1.5, so we'll be getting a 9.5 inches. So we'll mark it. Now after doing that, the next thing we are going to do is to connect our hip to our full length, the slanted line. Then we connect our waist with our hip measurement, connect it, and we've gotten our curve. The next thing we are going to do now is to take our dart. We normally calculate our darts using our waist measurement divided by 8. We'll calculate our dart using our waist divided by 8, and we'll get a 3.5. Then we'll add half inch to it. We'll add half inch to it, so we'll be getting a total of 4 inch. So this 4 inch now, we'll take it on our waistline, mark it. So now we've marked our dart line. Next thing we'll do is to remove bulging from our clothes. There's usually a bulge at the front of our clothes, and to avoid that, we'll have to come to the center, which is the close edge, and we'll mark out 1 inch down. Mark out 1 inch down. So after marking out this 1 inch down, you connect that line to our dart line. So it will be a slanted line. Use our ruler to connect it. So here we've connected it. After connecting it, that place will be removed when cutting. So next thing we'll do now is to take our dart line. We'll take our dart line. Our dart line is 6. So when we are doing our darts, when we are sewing our darts, we'll be sewing to a point of 6 inches. So now we can connect the line. This place now, you can see we are done drafting, and we can now cut out our measurements, cut out our pattern paper. Notch our darts. So now I open this paper, you can see that 1 inch we removed to prevent a bulge at the front of your skirt. So this our drafted pattern now, will take it over to our fabric. So this is the fabric we are using for this project. We've placed our pattern paper on it. We'll cut it out. Remember, this is our front part. We've cut it out. So we'll use the front part now to get our back part. The difference between our front part and our back part is that we don't take out that 1 inch bulging we took out from the front, and also there is a zip allowance at the back. So when cutting our back part, we have to consider that that bulging we took out from our front, we will not have to take it out at the back. So cut it out. As you can see, I've already cut it, and I didn't take out the bulging at the back because it's not affecting the back area, just the front. And then we'll have to open our zip allowance part. So we're dividing our back into two. Okay. We'll notch our dart now. Notch our dart, and that's it for our cutting. The next thing we'll do now is to sew. While sewing, the first part of our dress we have to sew is our dart. That is why we notched where our dart will be. We'll sew our dart. So let's sew it. Okay, we are done sewing that. The next thing we are going to do is to sew. Okay, this is how our dart is looking like, as you can see. So we'll sew the other part also. Okay, so we are done sewing our dart completely, as you can see. See how it's looking. As you can see now, I've done the back part. So we'll use our pin to hold our zip part. Remember, our zip is 1 inch allowance, so we'll just use our pin to hold it together. Hold it together. So now that we are done putting our pins on our zip allowance part to hold it together, we'll open it. Then we'll bring the front part and place it together, front to front, facing each other. Then we can now shape our outfit. So to shape, we'll have to first of all use our pin to hold it together to avoid shifting. Okay, so after doing that, we fold it together with our pins, more like securing our clothes. Next thing we'll do is to place our tape to our waist for shaping. Our actual waist measurement is 28, so divided by 2 now is 14 inches. 14 inches, but this is more than that. So okay, see our 14 inches. From our 14 inches now, we'll calculate what our excess in this fabric is. Remember, this is stretchy fabric, so it may be more than that at the end of the day. Okay, now we're having 19 inches. So if you calculate this, a 5-inch extra. This 5-inch extra, you don't shape all on one side, you divide it by 2. So a 2.5 is going on the left side and a 2.5 will be going on the right side. So we place our tape and get our 2.5, then we can sew. Now after placing our 2.5 there, we'll come to our hip and also check what is our hip measurement. Our hip is supposed to be 38, so 38 divided by 2 is supposed to be 19 inch, and this is more than that. We are having a 22 inches here. So we'll also divide the excess into 2 and bring a half of it on the right and a half of it on the left. So we'll mark it there, and then we can now do our shaping. So remember, whatsoever you shape with on your hip is what you will shape straight down to the end of your fabric. Don't forget to lock your stitch after sewing to the end. So now we remove our pins. We are done shaping. We remove our pins. So we'll remove the pin at the back, also the one holding down the zip allowance part. We'll remove it. After removing it, you can see it's open now. What we are going to do now is to fold our waist part. Since we are not adding a band on this skirt, we'll just have to fold it with a 1/2 inch double folding, and then we'll sew it. We'll sew it down. After sewing, we'll come to the down of our skirt. Also we'll sew with a 1 inch. Remember, we added 1 inch folding allowance. We'll also sew it down. From beginning to end, we'll sew it 1 inch. Okay, so we are done folding the upper part of our clothes and also the lower part of our skirt. As you can see, the next thing we want to do now is to fix our zip. Now in fixing your zip, you should note that normally after placing our zip on our fabric, we'll be supposed to be coming like this, facing this other, the front part. So we'll have to place our zip in a way facing this part like this. So we'll have to place our zip backward after our 1 inch allowance. Make sure it's 1 inch, so that by the time we are done sewing it like this and we are turning it, it will be facing the proper place. As you can see, we now sew it down. Done sewing our zip. Done sewing our zip. So the next thing we are going to do now, okay, I'll show you how the inside is looking. This is how the inside of our dress is looking. Can you see it? So the next thing we have to do now is to lock the back part of our dress. Remember our zip allowance is 1 inch. So from that 1 inch to the place where our stitches will be ending, because this cloth now will be having a slit. So to our slit line, we will take in on our slit line part, that's the side we will be sewing to, we'll be taking in 1.5 inch. We'll have to sew from this 1 inch now to 1.5 inch on the end of this stitches. So we'll do that now from the 1 inch of our zip allowance to 1.5 inch. So it's more like you're sewing slanted, not straight. All this is for your dress to be penciled properly. For your dress to be penciled properly. So as you can see, I'm showing you the 1.5 inch where our sewing will end. Then you lock your stitch there. Okay. So now use your scissors to cut out your thread. And we are almost done. The next thing we have to do in this cloth which is remaining is to lock our slit stitch. Lock our slit stitch. So to lock our slit stitch now, as you can see, this is where our slit is. So we have to lock this slit stitch. We'll turn our clothes inside. This is our slit stitch. We'll have to lock it. So we'll take all our shaping allowance of this slit to one side of the dress, like let it be all be going to one side of the dress. Then we'll put it under our sewing machine, under our sewing foot rather. Now what we are doing is to secure our stitch. So we'll arrange it properly under our sewing foot. Then the next thing we are going to do is to sew slanted. We'll sew it slanted, not straight but slanted. Okay, then you tie it properly, and we are done with that. We are done with our skirts. Thank you all for watching this video. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, comment